Hi, this is Christopher Spera, and this is the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 120, When Nature Calls, recorded live Monday, February 10th, 2025, live from iTechGear Central. As I said, I am Christopher Spera, the editor-in-chief here at iTechGear.org, and joining us tonight, hey, we've got a full crew. We've got all of the usual suspects with us tonight, including...
Don't scare them away.
Oh, shut up. Including the owner of the Dulcet Tones there, the former contributing editor at Gear Diary and Pocket Now, and of course, editor here at iTechGear.org, the fabulous and wonderful Mr. Chris Gavula. Hi. Uh-huh. Yeah, thank you.
He's at a loss for words after all that.
Yes. You're not muted. Coming in, dude. You're muted.
Press the button.
There we go.
Could have been a good thing for us, but
it could have been a good night for you guys, but you've now lost it. I'm here. No, just glad to be here as always.
Absolutely. That's fabulous. And of course, also here with us, the former contributing writer at Gear Diary and currently the host of the Linux Link Tech Show and Living in the Retro Arcade podcast and editor here at iTechGear.org. Brother Joe McLaughlin, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. And I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I did start a new YouTube channel called My New Life Resolution.
Nice.
Hopefully, as the weather gets warmer, some of the videos I will do will be on trail.
Cool.
But lately, it hasn't been warm enough. I got my pocket, and so gimbal camera. I strap it to my pack, and I talk as I walk along. So
there you go.
That's as I prepare for not one, not two, but 3 mammoth marches this year. So 3.
But wait,
there's
crazy.
More.
There's
and a tank
more.
And a tank.
Absolutely. And those Dulcet Tones, obviously, not the regular Dulcet Tones, but the former co-owner of WUGNET Publications and, of course, editor here at iTechGear.org, Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin. How are you, sir?
Relegated to the backup Dulcet Tones. Hey.
You know what? I get Dulcet Tones because you get multiple honorifics. So just get over it.
That's exactly right. I get so many of those, I don't even know who the hell I am anymore. I don't know. I'm doing good. I'm in the prep stages for cataract surgery. As much as I'm happy about it, I'll be able to see without wearing glasses or wearing contacts. It's a bit unnerving to think that something is going to cut a hole in my eyes, stick a folded up lens in it, all in less than 2 minutes. Done.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And proud that as a result of our age, we are able to talk about these things.
That's right.
with full experience and understanding.
Bunch of old farts talking about her. Yeah.
Get off my lawn.
We haven't, at least we haven't resorted to all of our medical issues yet. We're not there yet.
And we would have made it all right if it weren't for those damn kids and their crazy dog.
No kidding, right?
In China.
In China.
Yes. And okay. So here we go with the Apple segment. All right. China is actually threatening an App Store probe in retaliation to Trump's tariffs. Now, I want to go ahead and I want to make certain we're not getting into any sort of politics here, all right, in any way, shape, or form. There are a couple stories that will skirt the political arena here to this week. This happens to be one of them. China is saying that they're going to investigate the App Store for their outrageous 30% fees and the way that they've got a monopoly on their platform, and they're going to do it in retaliation to the tariffs. To the tariffs?
Tariffs.
It's with an F, not a P, kids. All right. To the tariffs that have been imposed upon them by President Trump.
Sure. I mean, how many times do they threaten this a year?
Well,
or this kind of thing, or some similar action.
Well, what really doesn't make sense to me is why wouldn't they threaten reciprocal tariffs? Why are they saying that they're going to investigate Apple?
Because it's all about what they think will hurt the most. That's what they think they're
Mhm.
doing, right? And let's face it, Apple has their head stuck above the foxhole more than most. So it's an easy target for this stuff,
Well,
right? Because you don't also hear about them going, well, we're also going to investigate the Google Play Store, and we're also going to go investigate,
well,
a
and
billion other things.
they actually are investigating.
Are they? Well, there
They
you go
are.
then.
They have confirmed. What China has confirmed is that Google will. Oh, actually, will be. All right. But I thought.
But notice that's not the way the stories are titled.
I know. They're also chasing after Google. All right. And will investigate them under the country's anti-monopoly laws. All right. The Chinese Commerce Ministry has separately placed the parent company of Calvin Klein and Tommy Hilfiger on the unreliable entity list. So not only are they chasing after your tablets and your computers.
I've been concerned about Tommy Hilfiger for a long time, so I guess I understand
they're
this.
chasing after your Android phones, and now your designer jeans and your polo shirts. So there you go.
I am really those things are scary, so I understand.
Yep.
I get it.
I think the biggest thing here is China. The way things are now undercuts almost anything and everything. If somebody makes a product here in the United States, there's no way they can possibly make it cheaper than what China can right now today. And it used to be with not so great quality. It's not the case anymore with a lot of Chinese products anymore.
It's definitely better, but we don't know what's coming with those products, right? That's the challenge.
That's true, and
this.
that's the concern that a lot of folks in Washington have right now. They're saying that Chinese products are like a box of chocolates. You just don't know what you're going to get.
Well, right. I saw somebody in the last week or so talk about the tariffs and especially with relation to China specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And the comment was, instead of putting tariffs against China, which we don't think are going to work or they won't work long term in any case, right. The suggestion was, why don't we do what they're doing, saying, you're welcome to do business here, but you have to pair up with an American company and you have to give them 50% interest and you have to do the exact same things that China makes as their barriers for us to do business in China. Do the same thing. At least that way we would get positive from this as well.
You wouldn't
Why don't
have
we
the
do
problem
this?
with ByteDance that you have now either, right?
Right. Absolutely true. You wouldn't have any of that if we made them do business the same way that they do business here. Rather than tariffs. Tariffs are not a good answer.
Without having to worry about what's going on.
So, tariffs are just not a good solution. They have never worked. They didn't work, and they triggered the big recession. So
they have.
They never worked is not really. I wouldn't say that. I mean, because when he also threatened it with Mexico and
it didn't work
Canada.
there. Mexico got more out of that than we did. It didn't work there.
Probably true, but the president still got some of the things he wanted. A lot of
he actually didn't get anything that they didn't already promise. So that's what it comes down to. So it's kind of a BS argument. But the point is they really don't work the way we want them to work, I guess is what I would probably a better way to say that.
They don't. And all it really
let's do something. Let's do something that does work. Right? Here too.
No, I agree. But all these tariffs, I think they do two things. One, they piss the importing country off.
They do.
All right.
Of course.
All right. Number
one. And they piss us off domestically too.
Well, and then domestically, the costs get passed down to the consumer.
Of course they do. Of course they do.
Prices go up, and that's where the recession sort of hit.
But I'd like to see. So I'd like to see the other. But to get back to the original point of all of this conversation was they decide to push the buttons with Apple and Google and whatever because again. Those are the big visible players. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Yes.
It's grandstanding, right? That's all China's doing.
It is.
But, aside from the tariffs, I still maintain that nowhere in this great United States that we love and live in do we have the wherewithal to employ the work discipline that they do in the sweatshops in China.
Yeah, absolutely.
Show me a place in Texas. Truly, show me a place anywhere in the United States where you can put 10,000 people in 5 big buildings and they work 24 hours a day. They never take a break. It ain't going to happen.
You can't.
Labor laws won't allow it.
Unless, of course, you're driving for Amazon and that the
that's true.
Then that's a totally different
There's
story.
too many people taking a tinkle into Mountain Dew bottles. You know,
My God, that's awful.
It is. But all right, so
okay,
let's go ahead though and
they're
move
doing
on a
this
little bit. I mean,
okay,
this is your standard. This is your standard response to.
It is. I'm not surprised. I don't think any of us are. So yeah.
But let's talk about something exciting that truly potentially exciting.
Ooh,
coming from Apple, which is the M5 chip entering mass production. Larry, hear me out. Come on, gimme.
Well, I realize we're citing Tom's Guide here, but I did a little more research aside from Tom's Guide. But I got to give them credit because they're listed here. But if you're listening to us, Tom's Guide, stop the inline ads. I can't even move my mouse anymore on your website. It's horrible. Just stop it. And every time I go buy something, it starts talking to me. I mean, you guys are really getting just like someone named Forbes. Anyway, I digress.
And not in a good way.
Apple's expected to launch their new M5 chip some point this year, and though this when has been up for debate, if you listen to the rumor mills, which I do, I think when could be very soon. A couple of days ago, the South Korean publication ET News reported that Apple has begun production of a new chip in Taiwan at their TSMC facility. And we all think that that's probably it. This is in conjunction with USA Amco and China JCET. So the detail, I think, is important here mostly because Apple has started to produce chips also at an Arizona facility. Some chips, and nobody knows what they are yet, but some of them are being produced there. And it's an important move if Apple hopes to get around this trade war that's brewing, and maybe this is one of the ways they're trying to get around it. I don't know.
Interesting.
But more importantly, really, which devices are going to get the M5 first? If I was betting, I would say the iPad Pro, of course, first. I'm going to put my money on MacBook Air again, just like they did in 2020 when they brought out the M1.
I'm curious because I've seen other pundits make the comment that instead the MacBook Air will be the last one to get the M4 because it doesn't even have the M4 yet.
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
And it's now going to be at the tail end of it instead of at the beginning end of it. But I agree with you, Larry. When they first came out with the M1, that was the Air first. So I'm a little surprised that they didn't do that with the current generation. So I don't know. Have they flipped the playbook permanently, or are we going to get it first? I do think that the iPad Pro will definitely get first, get it early, or if not first, it'll be one of the first.
You really need to make certain that adhesive is really in there and tight. Otherwise, it's going to continue to slip.
Yeah.
Like your dentures. I get it.
Never mind. Anyway.
Well, I don't know. I think if the M5 is anywhere near a performance increase over the M4, as the M4 was over the M3, we're in for a big chip here. I'm telling you, because I've now got the M4 in my Mac Mini. I've got it in the iPad Pro, and that is a great performer. I mean, really.
I think we're going to hear a lot about it, obviously in comparison to this current stream of Intel chips and the Ryzen chips and the AMDs that come, all these, the ARM chips that are coming out. We're going to hear a lot about cross comparisons as this M5 comes out. That's where the news story cycles are going to be. So I'm curious to see what this thing looks like when it comes out.
Well, all this competition does nothing but make it a great place for the consumer, because
it really, really does. We're getting better machines, better, faster, whatever. It's exciting. Now, if we can stop tacking AI onto all this crap, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just sell us the machine and move on.
That's right. That's right.
Very true. Very, very, very true. And the other kind of cool thing that's going on as of last week, of course,
mostly because none of us are going to get the invite to an Apple M5 event.
Well,
but we might get other ones.
That's true. All right, but the other big thing that kind of happened last week was that Apple went ahead and released a brand new app called Invites, previously codenamed Confetti, out of from our friends in Cupertino. Larry, what is Apple Invites? And
Well,
what do it
first
do?
of all, I had to try it since I was going to talk a little bit about it. So, number one, you all know I'm a big, huge Apple fanboy, but
Right.
this app does absolutely nothing for me. And there's a good reason for that. If you want, first of all, if you want me to come to your party, your wedding, your bar mitzvah, whatever, send me an email, call me, text me, whatever. I'll come. I don't need balloons soaring on the skyline in the background while a band of naked chipmunks sings, "Will you come to my party?" No. I know I'm getting older, and like Chris
Well, let
Spera
me ask a
said,
question because I agree with you, Larry. I totally agree with you. This thing does nothing for me. I think we all agree. I don't think any of us had any big excitement about this app for ourselves.
No, not
But
at
let me
all.
ask you this, and I'm going to guess that we're probably not the target audience. What does this do?
that's
What does
exactly
this
where I was.
do?
Yep.
Oh, you're going there. I'm so
I was
sorry. I was
exactly,
gonna say,
that's exactly where I was going to go. I
so
know
what
I'm
does it
getting
do?
older, but
What does it do for
I
the
feel
TikTok
like
crowd?
I feel like Apple's pandering to the under 30 crowd these
You're
days.
probably
Oh,
right.
wait. They are. How about that? Well,
Oh,
now I don't feel so bad. Apple Invites has less utility to me than the 5,000 games that hit me in the face every time I go into the App Store looking
oh
for a real
gosh.
app. I'm just sick of it. I mean, I
I
get
was
it
thinking.
though. That's where the money is. The money is right there, and those
Well,
30-year-olds and are spending it. We're
to
not.
me, it smelled
Well,
like, oh, this is for the TikTok crowd because it sure isn't for
It's
us.
exactly
Well,
right.
it's
Right.
it's for anybody that wants to set up a family reunion or the
Yeah.
birthday party. Your
Oh,
son
it
daughter
does what it
first
claims it
birthday party.
does.
Some
It
of those,
does
some
it.
big kind. Larry's retirement party. Those kinds of those kinds
Yeah.
of things. Right now, it's a
Am I getting fired?
No.
no. No, that's
That
all
invitation
you
is
need
pink,
for that
Larry.
is a nice bottle of Gentleman Jack. All right.
Well,
Ah,
And a Schwitz of Coke, and that's it. All
hey,
right.
I did try doing this, and you can easily create and share invitations, RSVP, contribute to shared albums. You can
yeah,
engage
I
with
think it
Apple
does a good job at
Music.
what it does. I just don't know if I care
Yeah,
what it does.
and
Well,
I don't know.
here's a
It's
couple of
just,
things. This is a free app in and of itself.
It
All right.
yep,
is.
it
Number
is.
one, it is a free app. But if you're going to create an event in this particular app, you have to have a paid iCloud Plus subscription in order
Yeah.
to use it. All right.
Which is Apple driving people back to the
To
service
service.
part of
Services,
their
But you
right.
know what,
business.
Larry? I'll have them doing it this way rather than Microsoft trying to force feed it down my throat in their OS.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
I'd
Yeah.
rather Apple did it this way than the way Microsoft's doing it,
yep.
driving you
Well,
to services.
don't worry.
Oh, we'll get there.
We'll spin the big wheel later.
Oh, I'm so excited! I'm so excited! Oh, goody goody!
All right. So it doesn't matter whether any invitees are using a Apple phone or an Android
Mhm.
phone. All right.
Well,
They can go ahead and respond to the app. What really bothers me with all of this, all right, because iOS and iPad OS and even Mac OS apps, all right, are all about in-app purchases. All right.
True.
All right. What I want to know is why this wasn't an in-app purchase for calendar. Why do I have to have, why do I have to have a separate app? Because this really doesn't do much more anything than just add, forgive me, bells and whistles. All right. Balloons.
Well, here though, I mean,
balloons
let's
and
make
confetti
sure we
to the
don't F
invitation
with
that you're
my
already
calendar.
in.
Because
but
if
isn't
you
it?
get that thing in there and I'm using Apple Calendar, you better let me turn it off or not even put it
Well,
in there to
that
start
goes
with.
that goes without saying. You wouldn't get
But
it unless you had an iCloud Plus subscription, and
well,
while
that's
at
what I was
least
gonna
three
say.
of the
do.
four of us here do, you should be able to turn it on or off.
But doesn't that
Okay.
kind of make? But doesn't that kind of make it an in-app purchase to use your parlance because you have to have iCloud Plus to use the silly thing. So isn't it kind of the same thing but backwards?
My point is, why does it have to be a separate app? I wouldn't want it to be a separate. Why do I have to have a separate app to create a group invite for a thing when I can already create a group invite
Well,
for a thing out of
here's my
calendar?
thinking. Here's my thinking. Do you remember, and I forget what it was called. Remember back in the day, there was a
Are we
photo
getting in the
app
Wayback Machine? Are we
yeah,
getting
we're getting in the way. We're getting Sherman, come with me.
good.
Come with me. We're getting in the Wayback Machine.
All right. Okay.
Do you
good,
remember?
Sherman.
And do you remember? And I can't remember who made it. It used to come in a big yellow box. It was a thing for doing simple things with photos and making greeting cards and doing crap like that. Print shop. And I kept saying, why do I need this as opposed to a desktop publisher or as opposed to Photoshop? Why do I need this thing? And it had a slightly different purpose, and it was separated out that way. And I think this is a similar thinking.
Okay.
Maybe. I'm speculating, but that's what I'm thinking. It has a slightly different audience.
Hey, Chris, maybe it's also because they had to do it that way to integrate it with Android and other platforms, possibly. I don't know.
It's not really integrated with Android. It's a
well,
web
it's
link.
not integrated, but Joel, I know you say that, but 500 news articles that I have read in the last 3 days say this thing integrates beautifully, and I use an Android. So what's the difference between them and you? I need to know.
Well, okay. If you're gonna integrate it with Android, then it should have an app. It shouldn't be a web link. It should, or a web app.
There should be
a real app.
Yeah. And Apple can create Android apps. They've done it for Apple Music, which is one of their biggest players, right? And they're going to do it for TV if they haven't already.
Well, they have for Android TV, but not for Android, quote unquote, the generic that you come on phones and tablets.
Right.
But they have for Android TV.
You have Apple Music. You have both Apple and
Apple Classical. Yep, you have Classical.
Yeah.
Yep, you do.
Why not do it for this?
I would agree with you. If they're going to do it, I would read. Yes, a web app is fine, but I would rather they did it, with a proper app. And I'm that way. But my feeling about web apps is I'm not happy with web apps in general anyway. So
yes,
I kind of agree with that. I more than kind of agree
Steve
with
is rolling over in his grave right now because you said that.
Yeah, but I'm going to respond to him, but I'm going to use my stylus.
Right.
This one?
Yeah.
This one?
That's right. That one.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a true I mean, yeah, you can, I think it will, like, you can probably add it to your Google Calendar if you want to, but to me, it's just like, all the other things, the web link works, you get your invite and all that stuff. But like all the other things, like the photos and stuff, that doesn't really work on Android. It just doesn't.
To your point, and in your defense, if you go Google, which I just did, why isn't there an Android app for Apple Invites? It clearly says 5,000 people are saying, make the damn app, Apple. Come on, give us.
Yeah.
There's no.
I guess
it's great that it works, and we appreciate we can be part of this, but give us the app.
I guess it's one of those situations where it's cool that the bear dances.
Yeah,
it would be nice that the tutu wasn't so damn ugly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Well, there we go.
So kind of not seamlessly moved to the mobile Linux segment.
Well, yes, and that was our transition. Really, was the Android. How does it work for Android, and why? And all that I can say is that the bear dances, but the tutu is ugly. So
that's pretty much. Where have I heard that before?
So yes, I know. So interestingly enough, right? The whole process for setting this thing up is easy. You open the app, you create an event, you pick a photo or whatever, right? Choose from suggested backgrounds or add your own, right?
Or what did Larry say? Naked hamsters dancing or whatever it was? Something like naked chipmunks dancing. Okay, great.
Right. But tap in, so type in a title, enter the date and time, enter the location, quick description. You can create a shared photo album for the event if you want. You can create a shared Apple Music playlist if you want for the party. Tap preview to go ahead and look at it and see if it looks the way you want it, and then you can go ahead and send it out. You can also choose how to invite people and whether to accept them all or approve each attendee individually. So,
Why are you approving attendees if you send out the invitation in the
well,
first place?
the whole idea that you may want. Look,
Why
I don't.
invite them if you're not going to approve them?
Is if you're going to create an event, a private event, some people can forward these things on, right?
Mm.
These invites
Right.
on from their calendar. You want to make certain that they're on
There you
quote
go.
unquote the list, right?
The list.
The list, so that you don't have to worry
Well, that's
about
what you pay the
people
bouncer
crashing.
for.
Well,
Come on.
go get them, dude. Anyway, so,
Yep.
so I'm going to go ahead
Okay.
and I'm going to, now that we're fully into our mobile Linux segment with
And
that
we are.
transition, and we are,
Yeah.
the next story is something that's kind of sort of near and dear to my heart because it involves smartwatches. But Joel,
Yep.
you have a Garmin smartwatch, yes?
Yep, I do, and it was like let's see, how long ago now?
You've had it a while now.
You've had
Couple
it, you had
weeks.
it
Well,
for-
I've had my watch since July, but
right.
the
So-
issue that we're talking about here is that
Right.
there was an update to Garmin OS
Mm.
that triggered some users to see the blue triangle of death, which I happy to say I didn't see that. So what this was there was a bug related to starting any GPS activity. So if you wanted, like if I went out for a walk and hit the buttons on the watch and triggered a walk, it would cause this particular issue. There's been a software update since then that has since corrected it. I'd say probably in less than 24 hours. So, so it's, but the Garmin watches, they are hugely popular in hiking circles. There's lots of excitement around them because they just have better battery life than any smartwatch in existence.
And they also have a watch that will recharge with kinetic energy as well as one that will recharge with solar energy. So there's some really cool things that Garmin is doing with their watches. Now, while the watch OS is their own proprietary OS, right?
Yep.
And they do have a number of different native watch faces and apps and whatnot. These watches, a lot of them, they're really, really stylish, I would call them. All right. And they're really, they're nice, big. I like a something that looks like
that.
it's gonna, I like something that looks like it's going to take a beating and still tick, right? The old time it takes a beating and keeps on ticking, right? Kind of thing.
It's got a sapphire screen on it. So
yeah.
I mean, it's.
But
I have had more damage to the wristband that I bought, which is not technically a Garmin's. It's Garmin specific band, but not made by Garmin.
Right, but it will work with the. So you can get third party bands for it. So it's nice, but so like you said, Garmin is saying that after the update, if you started using the GPS functionality of the watch, the device may brick and you get this nice blue triangle and you're sometimes hitting the power button to make the watch reboot would bring you back, right? Sometimes it would get you stuck in a boot loop. All right.
I think the thing that's important there though is they issued their update pretty darn fast. They supported their product very well.
They did. All right. And some of the things that they are saying as far as what they've got a specific support page that's dedicated to this particular issue. All right. And on notes on how you may be able to fix this temporarily, at least maybe long enough to go ahead and get the update in. Right.
Okay.
Non-GPS activities do not seem to trigger the boot loop. So as long as if you haven't updated your Garmin watch recently, stop what you're doing, run, don't walk to your smartphone and grab the Garmin app, watch app, and update your device, and hopefully you won't have any particular issues. But if you're somebody like Joel who is going to go ahead and rely on the watch to really keep track of where you worked out, how far you went, et cetera, et cetera.
And navigation too, because I can use that for trail navigation as well. So, and the nice thing with the Garmin watches is you don't really have to have your connection to the phone because you can download the maps right to the watch. So I mean, it's pretty fantastic. So and music too, if you really wanted to, but I never do that. But.
Well, like I said, my recommendation though is if this is your watch, you're gonna want to make certain that you update it if you haven't already. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
Go ahead and go.
But speaking of watches, don't we have more things about watches?
We do, and I
Yes,
was just about to
do.
go ahead and thank you for interrupting me. I appreciate that. You sort of blew my transition, but
Was that what you were doing? Didn't recognize it.
Yeah, yes. Thank you very little. Here.
You're welcome. You're welcome very little.
Yeah.
Now that he's getting older, that's all they can do. Transition.
Yeah, well,
Oh, there you go.
Do I need to call
shiny.
HR? I need to call HR, don't I?
Yeah. Ooh, shiny. Come on, let's move.
Probably.
So, if you guys remember back in the day, all right, it was really back in like 2013, 2014 was really Pebble OS.
2013.
It was really the Pebble watch, starting off of a Kickstarter campaign, all right, that got the whole smartwatch
so simple, did its job
going.
perfectly.
And
I love that watch.
I have my second generation Pebble watch. It doesn't work anymore, obviously, but I still have it. It's nice to look at every now and again. You look at it and you go, oh, and that's about it.
It was cute like a puppy.
It was. Yeah, it was. And the battery lasted on this thing for a good week at least. All right, on a single charge, at least at the time. All right. The OS that it was running was called, of course, Pebble OS. And the owner of the company, and I'm going to call him. I'm going to try this once, and then we're going to just abbreviate.
I can't do it.
Say again.
I can't pronounce it. I just
Mikovsky.
Migikovsky, I think is what it is.
Thank you. All right. Eric Migikovsky was the original founder of Pebble, and he ended up releasing the OS to open source. All right.
Right.
And
Google did that because Google owned him. Right.
Right.
Fitbit and Google, yeah.
Right. Well, so Fitbit bought out Pebble. All right. And then Google bought out Fitbit. All right. Yep. So Google has got it out now. All right. As part of a different project. And it's interesting that you can now use the Pebble OS to actually create different clocks and whatnot for different kinds of hardware. All right. So it's really kind of cool to see this thing back. All right.
And the original guys, the one pushing the project again.
Yeah. He wrote the original source code here.
Yeah.
Now.
So now he's back at it.
Yeah. So
fascinating.
There are ways to actually take your Pebble smartwatch and try to use it with Android, and 9to5 Google has a couple of links.
But Pebble failed initially and was before it was obviously bought by Google or Fitbit,
right.
But it failed because of, just like so many other good companies, it tried to do the right thing at the right price for so many people. You can't. You have to be a crook if you're going to succeed.
True. Well, that and the fact that
there's not.
Well, their color e-ink screen didn't work out so well. All right.
No.
And
they
also
were trying to capture more users by switching to that.
Yeah.
Well, the other problem is we were moving into an era where people wanted apps that did more, and it didn't do that.
It did no.
So it had a limitation.
Why it had a good battery life.
It had a great battery life, for that reason. It was one of those things. I don't think he did a very good job of marketing what it really was and what it wasn't very well, and I think that kind of put it in a weird niche. So.
Not too many people scratched.
Not too many people scratched. So
the Pebble 2 didn't really kind of make it, and in 2016, like you said, they kind of went bye-bye. They got picked up by Fitbit, who got picked up by Google, and here we are again. So interesting that it's coming back around. All right. And some of the things that you can see here, at least some of the clocks, the
Very
clock
interesting.
they're specifically talking about. Look in the show notes, and there's a link to 9 to 5 Google that shows what it's doing now.
And we're looking for new hardware real soon. Is the gist. Okay, that's a good thing.
Yep.
That's exciting.
So if you're a developer and you want to play with it and toy with it, you can check it out on GitHub, and that link is also on the document that we've cited in our show notes. So, and that is really where we are right now. We are at the end of our mobile Linux segment, and I'm going to go ahead and move us into our Windows segment, but I'm going to do that right after this message. Hi, this is Christopher Spera from iTechGear.org. I wanted to talk with you today about becoming a contributing donor to the site. iTechGear.org has been around for almost 15 years. In fact, our anniversary is just around the corner on January 10th, 2025. 15 years. Where has the time gone? I've never really asked for any kind of donations for the site. It's always been about me providing value to you, a site visitor or podcast listener. The iTechGear Weekly is now in its 4th year of production, and Chris G., Joel, and Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin and I are having a really great time providing you with some of the best free tech talk available from time-tested original internet writers, testers, site founders, and professional writers and editors on the internet. I truly believe that our crew has some of the best and most qualified pundits and commentators on the internet today. And we're not hobbled by any kind of sponsorship or affiliated relationship or other time-bought posts. It all comes from the heart. Unfortunately, times are kind of tough. And since the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020 to 2023, yes, almost 3 full years, times have become increasingly difficult for small independent sites like iTechGear.org to stay afloat. I normally do this with a portion of the salary I make from the day job, but with the IT market so tight right now, it's really difficult sometimes for many to make normal household ends meet, let alone fund a site like iTechGear that might decide to bring in a buck or two. It ain't easy. If you find any of our content on iTechGear or from ITGW to be of any value at all, I would seriously appreciate you donating as little as just $1 to the cause. While we do have a Patreon site, it's hard to keep one website up, let alone 2. And since it's really only me doing the work, our Patreon site hasn't really helped us at all. If you can make a donation to the site or to the show of any amount, I'd be forever grateful. All donations will go to site maintenance, hosting, podcast hosting, and everything iTechGear related. Donations can be made to my PayPal account at chris@itechgear.org. Make a donation. We'll thank you immediately on the next ITGW episode and voice our gratitude. I want to thank you. We appreciate your consideration, time, and attention. Now let's get back to the latest iTechGear Weekly episode. And welcome back to the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 120, When Nature Calls. And like I said, I want to go ahead and I want to bring us into our Windows segment. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ask Brother Joel to give us a big spin of that big wheel.
Or not.
Or not. Go ahead and hit me, Joel.
I did. You didn't hear it?
No.
Not a
I
thing.
didn't hear it.
Not a thing.
I'm so disappointed.
I am.
You know what? It must be a bug in your Microsoft.
Oh, no.
Could be. Could be.
You know, and here we are again at the, I want to go ahead and I want to say spin that big wheel, but yeah, Microsoft mistake-a-thon. So actually having the issue, no sound for that.
Well,
Um,
but we're still going to celebrate the mistake-a-thon because that's
we
what
are
we
still
do,
going to
folks.
celebrate the mistake.
This
and
is what we do.
Yes.
And it is actually
My
the
goodness.
Windows 11 bug updates are making things worse. Now, interestingly enough, and again, this is coming from ZDNet, and it is from Lance Whitney. Now, I don't know Lance, all right, but from what I understand about this particular issue, there were a couple of bugs in Windows 11 24H2. All right,
Couple.
yeah, only a couple, right? And this latest issue centers around 24H2 preview update released on January 28th, KB 5050094. And it was supposed to be a major bug buster addressing both new and old glitches. All right. And to an extent, the update was successful because it did, in fact, succeed in, squashing those bugs, fixing issues with USB headphones and webcams, DAC audio, Bluetooth devices, and a game playing with auto HDR and disappearing mouse cursors. But,
It's Microsoft.
It's Microsoft, kids. And they've got the shittiest QA department in the world. And I can say that because I've been in software QA for over 30 years.
What did they introduce in this mistake-a-thon?
Well, tell you but wait, there's more.
Right? Oh, wait, there's more.
All right. So the latest bugs affect the Cursor, File Explorer, audio devices, Virtual Machine Tool, Hyper-V, and a variety of other features. So if you happen to install this particular update, the Cursor sometimes continues to load. In its testing, Windows latest found that the cursor spinning circle appears every 30 seconds or so, making it seem as if Windows is trying to load something, but it's not. All right. It's just taking a pause. It's all verklempt. All right. Telling you to get a cup of coffee.
Discuss amongst yourselves. All
discuss.
That.
Yes.
Is it all the flavors of it, Intel, ARM, and otherwise, or is it just limited to certain sub things?
I'm trying to look. Well, you have to have for Hyper-V, it has to be on the Intel side.
It has to be on Intel for Hyper-V, yeah.
So it's not going to be on the.
And I'm going to guess the majority of these are going to be on Intel because that's the biggest, widest platform for them.
Right. So, when you install KB 5050094, which is build 26100.3037. All right. It makes computers unusable. An individual in Feedback Hub wrote, File Explorer fails to open when clicking the Explorer button on the taskbar or even from the run command or command prompt. Any save as open browse dialogues fail to open. Performance, especially at login, is in the tank. It takes minutes just to log into the desktop after entering a password, and various desktop apps and programs tend to become unresponsive for minutes at a time and then become responsive. So they kind of go ahead and look at you. They're huffing and puffing, trying to make it up the stairs, and then they give you the big hand.
Yeah, I'm coming.
I'll get there in a minute. And then, they make you wait. You sing the ketchup song and it comes back, right? You guys know what the ketchup song is, right?
But something, it's not just us geeks that are upset with Microsoft right now.
No.
So much so that here in the computer club where I have this, I started a new thing with our first level support team, and I'm doing it because nobody else can, but still, it's new. We have enough people that are complaining about Microsoft, and they're asking, what else is there? I don't want to do Mac. So I've started doing a little class on how they can change from Windows to Linux and what their options are and how cheap it is. I mean, they can reach in the closet for the last machine they ever use, and it'll be perfectly fine for Linux.
Right.
And actually, they're catching on. I mean, Linux isn't that hard.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
No, and what I do promise them, and it's not a promise that I can't keep, I don't think. It will not give you the grief that you're now suffering with Microsoft and all this crap.
No.
And so far, 3 out of 3 people are liking it. I've moved 3 people.
As long as you stay in the right lanes, you're good. You really are. But if you try to leave those lanes, it's a little more challenging. But as long as you stay in those certain limit lanes,
you can't do all the stuff that
awesome.
like Joel does with it and throw different bills on it every week. You just got to pick something, like Mint.
You got it right.
Right. Yeah, and I would agree. And I would say that, look, if you're new to Linux, stay in your lane, do your email, do your web browsing.
That's all I do. I show
do your
email,
Word
browsing, and that's it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Do your Word documents or your Google Docs or whatever it is. Right.
Yep.
Do
your Open Office or whatever it is. Stick with those.
And I even tell them, look, when you turn that thing on, just put it. Make sure it's got sleep mode turned on, and don't bother turning it off. Don't do nothing. You don't have to. If you feel like you want to, fine. But I've got one Linux box that's been running for over 6 months now.
Are you recommending a particular release for them?
No, I'm putting most of them on Mint.
Distro? Mint? Which is a good thing.
That's because Joel told me to.
Any Ubuntu distribution, any.
Yeah, I mean, Debian, but I do show them. I give them a list of all that's out there.
Of course.
Again,
but
same kind.
Any of them will work.
Stay in a well-traveled lane. Pick the popular distributions, right? Don't go too crazy, and they may look really cool, and a lot of them really, really do, but a lot of them are cool looking because they require a specific level of expertise. All right. So stick to the well-traveled lanes, the popular distributions.
Stay with popular kind of app. An app says if you try to do something obscure, be prepared to work a little harder for it. But it can do everything 99% of people are doing. It can handle it. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yep.
So yeah. And interestingly enough, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ask us all to climb into the Wayback Machine one final time.
Come on, Sherman. Let's go. Let's go, Sherman.
All right. Let's
go.
So Joel can go ahead and give us this last sort of thing. If those of us who may have been into Windows Phone, right? Microsoft has finally put the address bar on the bottom of Microsoft Edge for Android
how long?
And iOS. So,
right. Well, yes and no. I mean, it's not default. So, but you can change.
But it's an option.
It's an option. So if you are a weirdo who likes it on the bottom, and I qualify that as a weirdo, then go ahead and do it. I don't use Edge to begin with, so
let's explain why some people do like it on the bottom and have
I was just going to say
it's one-handed usability is what it comes down to.
And even your eyes, your eye travel is much shorter. It just you don't have to.
Well, all right, so the big thing about this is that on a mobile device, you tend to look at either the very, very top or the very, very bottom of the screen.
True.
All right. Depending on what you're kind of doing. All right. For web browsing, it brings the header of or the address bar and it shlunks it down to the bottom so that you take that away and out of your line of sight, your initial line of sight, so that you have more viewable image
for content, right?
And content at the top of the device where you're probably going to look after you get to the web page to begin with, right? You're going to look at the top of the device and you're going to scan down and scroll down and blah, 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 right? And then when you're ready to go to a different page or type in a different address or search, it's at the bottom waiting for you, close to your keyboard so you can see what you're typing while you're typing it. And that's where the benefits of having that stuff at the bottom come from, right? The problem. Apple's been doing this on Safari on iOS for years.
For years now.
Right. And yeah, it did kind of cause a big sort of, hullabaloo at the
But
beginning. Everybody lost
they
their
offer
mind.
a way to go back if you don't want.
Yeah. And this is optional. This is not a set
Mhm.
by default, right, Joel? This is not set by default, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. All right. So you can set it if you want it, or you can just leave it the way that it is with the address bar on the top. But it's interesting that it's there now. Now, Microsoft is calling this an experimental feature.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Sure.
Then again, based upon the fact that we wanted to spin the big wheel there,
I would argue that every
Everything
version
is
of Windows 11
experimental.
lately is an experimental feature. Yeah.
Everything is an experiment for Microsoft. So, we'll see what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
It's an option. It's an option that's out there. All right.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah. And you know
Glad
what
to
I want
see
to
it.
do now? I want to move us to our tip of the week segment.
You do.
I do. But before we get into that, I want to remind everybody again, hey, iTechGear is all about bringing complicated computing down to a spot where just about anybody can do it, right? And this team specifically has dedicated their writing careers to that specific purpose. So every week, the iTechGear Weekly is going to feature a new computing tip authored by one of our experienced editors. That means you guys.
Oh,
Not just me.
okay.
Okay. All right. You got questions, kids? You can go ahead. You got requests. You have suggestions, whatever. You can go ahead and send those out to tips@itechgear.org. And if we happen to take your question, take your tips, take your suggestions or requests, we'll get you your 15 seconds of fame and make certain that you get a little bit of Sunbird from the limelight, right? But this week, it's been a long week today.
Yeah, we get it.
It's only Monday.
It's only Monday.
It's only Monday. But this week, I want to, if you've got a Mac laptop, this is a Mac tip. All right. If you've got a Mac laptop and you're using the latest version of Mac OS, which is Mac OS Sequoia version 15, if you're using 15.0, 2, or 3, or 15.3.1, which, by the way, was released today. So if update them if you got them. All right. Every time that you open up the laptop, the power turns on. Now, for some, that's a big convenience. All right. For others, it is annoying as all get out because what if you go ahead and you open up the laptop, but the doorbell rings, or you open up the laptop and nature calls, all right, or you open up the laptop and you don't want it to start right away, all right. There is a way to go ahead and prevent your Mac laptop from either turning on when you open the lid or when you connect it to power. All right. There are sometimes you just want to go ahead and, shut it down, plug it in so that when you get up in the next morning, it's charged up and ready to go. But if you connect it to power,
like clean the screen, maybe you just want to clean the display or something.
There you go. Whatever. All right. So there are a couple of you've got to be comfortable opening up terminal. All right. And entering in a couple of commands, and the computer will go ahead and prompt you for your administrator password. All right. But to prevent your computer, your Mac laptop, from turning on when you open the lid or connect it to power, you type at a terminal prompt sudo, SUDO, which stands for super user do. All right. Sudo space NVRAM, all one word, all right, spelled just like it sounds, space boot preference with a capital B and a capital P equals %00. And we will have all these instructions.
I was going to say, well, you better go up and read them in our show notes.
Yeah. Yep. All right. And then hit enter. It'll ask you for your password. And then you enter your password, hit enter, and it will complete the command. All right. Then when you open your lid or connect it to power, it won't turn on. If you just want to prevent your computer from starting up when you open the lid, and just open the lid, meaning that it will still turn on if you plug the computer in, again, get to a terminal window, all right, and type sudo space N as in Nancy, V as in Victor, RAM, NVRAM space boot preference, again, with a capital B and a capital P equals %01. All right. Hit enter. It'll ask you for your password again. Enter your password, hit enter, and then your computer will only turn on automatically when you plug in power. All right. When you open up your laptop, it will not turn on automatically. To prevent your PC from starting up when you only connect power, meaning that it will still turn on when you open up the laptop, again, it's the same level of activity here. Open up terminal and type the command sudo space NVRAM space boot preference, again with a capital B and a capital P equals %02. Hit enter. Enter your password. After it prompts you for it, hit enter, and then that'll happen. All right. Now, if for whatever reasons you want to stop all that from happening, you've tried one, the other, and it's still not quite what you want, or for whatever reason you want to undo all of that, to undo all of this, go back to terminal and type sudo space NVRAM space -D space boot preference, again with a capital B and a capital P. Hit enter. It'll ask for your password. Enter the password. Hit enter, and there you go. It'll remove all of those and put it back to the default. Again,
and Chris, I will send you a link that you can put up there for folks in the show notes, which is a really good Apple support tutorial
in the show notes.
Oh, is it? I didn't even look at it.
Apple support link right there.
Oh, I didn't even see it.
All
okay,
right.
cool.
It is support document 120622, and it's got all the instructions there. So the instructions are in the show notes. The link is in the show notes. So there you go. It's actually a pretty cool sort of process. Apple's got some really nice features in the OS, and a lot of them are a little esoteric in that they don't enable them or give you any kind of options. So, but there you go. So
there you go.
And that is our tip of the week, Stephen. I know it was kind of long. I know it was a little bit complicated, but that link and our show notes will help you out. All right. I want to move us now to our pick of the week segment. But before we get to our actual pick, again, I want to remind everybody that our show picks are typically hardware, software, and other items of interest that we have individually purchased and actually use, and that we like enough that we want to recommend them to you, our growing listener base. Now, these aren't any kind of paid advertisements or items that we have any kind of affiliated marketing relationship with. If they were, the editorial policy at iTechGear.org indicates that we must disclose that to you guys up front. These are just things that we sincerely believe in and that we want to bring to you at the end of each show. Why?
Because we like you.
Yeah.
You guys will get it someday. I swear.
Uh-huh.
All right, Joel, you've got the pick this week. So what do we got?
Okay, so one of the things I do, I go through it every month. I don't always get a box every month, but I subscribe to Bespoke Post.
Mm-hmm.
And not this month. This month I got something different coming, but last month one of the options was something they call stashed. In fact, I think this is even suggested to me now, because of my hiking and just love of the outdoors. One of the things I've always collected for years and years now are knives, pocket knives, and also fixed blade knives. So stashed include two things. Included this, which is the vault. You guys, the guys can see it. Unfortunately, you listeners won't be able to. And then this, which is a bare edge pocket knife. All right, but the pick for this week isn't this knife, because this is actually a relatively inexpensive knife. It's about $20. But this is the vault. The vault is essentially, it's a case. As you can see here, it's all zipped up right now, but I'll open it up. And inside of it, it's designed to carry knives as other EDC things. So like anything that you can fit in
EDC.
here.
What does EDC stand for?
EDC is everyday carry.
Okay.
So a lot of folks like myself like to carry knives in their pocket. And now I have a nice way to organize them. So you can see here, these are in the lid here. Here, I actually should probably bring that up so I can actually see my camera. In the lid here, there are these panels that can be unvelcroed, and you can put the knives in there, and then you can move those around. But then it's got these here on the other side. They got like 2 sets of these, so there's 4 of these, and then it's also got for the bigger knives in my collection, it's got this little pouch up here, so I can pull out my. I have an Open L number 12 and a bare bones kind of a hunting style knife. So I don't even have it fully full yet, but the nice thing is it zips it up and keeps them like. It's fairly waterproof, although I'm not going to test it, but
Sure.
But so if you had this, like say if you had this in your vehicle or someplace where it could get wet, it'll protect your knives in there. I personally just use it around the house, and I got my knives in there, and it's nice. Like another good thing you can do with this is if you travel like I do, and you're going to fly a plane. Put your knives in here. You can have your collection with you. You stick it in your suitcase, obviously, not in your carry-on. But that now via bespoke post, I got it for it and the Brisk One frame lock folding knife for $49.99. But if you go to vaultcase.com, which is the original company that made this thing, the case itself is $49, so it's a little more. But the nice thing here, if you go direct to vaultcase.co, the link will be in the show notes. You can pick from orange, which is the one I have, polar white, or foliage green, and it's really handy. I really like this thing. It's some people may have bigger collections, so you might want to buy 1 or 2 of them.
Well, this is so the case
nice
in and of itself is 11 by 6.5, right?
Yep.
It's waterproof. It's got a nice dual zipper sort of closure system, right? And it's good for knives or any other thing that you would want that's about the size of a folded knife, folded pocket knife, right? That you would want to stick in some sort of a waterproof case with either a Velcro panel or some sort of a elastic band to hold it in place and keep it safe.
But those panels have
you need it.
Right, and the panels have the Velcro panels have the little elastic bands built into the panels themselves. So it's really handy. You can put like a pen in there. Pretty much any
pens, small telescopes, maybe some tools, right?
A little flashlight, like a little LED
pen
flashlight
light,
you can fit in there.
LED pen light, or flint and steel to help your fire starter, right?
Yep.
Keep your tinder dry, etc.
Yep.
Right? Those kinds of things. When you're when you're camping or you're out hiking, one of the things that you really need to watch for is water, because it will get absolutely everywhere.
Yep.
So if you're the outdoorsy type and you need a good place to hold some items that either you don't just want flying around everywhere in your luggage or your pack, this is probably a great way to go ahead and organize them,
Yep.
and it's not all that expensive. It's about 50.
Nope. The little in fact, the little pouch is actually on Velcro too, so you can.
Nice.
And so you can actually move that around, and move the panels around as you want, and in fact, the back side of that, actually, there's the Velcro on the back.
Mm-hmm.
So you can probably slip something behind it too if need be.
Sure.
But I got all my knives in there. Now I don't have super expensive knives, but it's still nice to keep them someplace where they're not going to get moisture on them, and I know where they're always at. So I did kind of switch to this from I actually 3D printed and designed and 3D printed a case.
Okay.
Very similar in size to this, although it doesn't have the handle on it. That's the other nice thing. It's got a real nice handle on it. And we've talked about the iPad case. I have a TomTalk iPad case for my iPad Pro. Actually, when I got it, I had the Air 4. It's the same color, exact same color.
There you go.
So it kind of fits in with some of the gear that I already have. So I really like it. I highly recommend them. That box is currently not available. It's sold out right now on Bespoke Post. So, but if you're a Bespoke Post subscriber, be on the lookout for that, and you can pick one up there for probably a better price and get a nifty little flipper pocket knife too, which I do really like the knife. Don't get me wrong. But it's not really anything to write home about. It's not like a real expensive like Benchmade or anything like that. But it is useful and it is very sharp. So it's cool. And Bespoke Post itself, it's got a lot of that kind of gear. It can have anything from other knives, things for your office, day pack. One time I got a cold brew maker. I think I talked about that on the show before. That, it used to be strictly like a guy thing, but now I think ladies, there are boxes for you on Bespoke Post. So check them out. And a lot of their things are smaller businesses too. You don't, and the nice thing is with it is you don't have to get a box every month. So, although it just so happens, I think I've got one the last 3 times. So, the one I've got coming is the Weekender, which is essentially a nice canvas bag.
Okay.
So,
There you go.
pretty cool canvas bag. I'm probably intending on using it for one of my first trips I'm taking next month, going down to Cincinnati for a tournament for my son. So,
Nice.
but Bespoke Post got lots of cool stuff, and that's where I got the stash, the vault. So,
Very cool.
all right.
Well, that, kids, as we say, is the show.
Okay.
This has been the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 120, When Nature Calls. Recorded live Monday, February 10th, 2025, live from iTechGear Central. And for Mr. Chris Gavula, Brother Joe McLaughlin, and Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin, I want to say, hey, we'll see you next time.
Yeah.